Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame show presented by Shift Hockey. Go to shifthockey.com and use code CHGO for 10% off your next twig.
Yeah.
Your next stick. And when we say Shift Hockey, that means Nick Foligno is going to join us, and he's going to.
He will.
As soon as he wraps up his postgame workout and all of his media duties, he'll be with us here on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski with Mario Tirabassi. We've got Steven descending from on high to produce the show today. We appreciate that. We had to kiss the ring. We had to bow to him a few times.
Big of him to work on a weekend.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I work on so many weekends.
Well, that was if a 4-2 loss can be fun, it was a fun 4-2 loss. The Hurricanes come out on top, beating the Hawks 4-2, but Frank Nazar, on his first shot on goal, scores his first NHL goal, and he was on the power play. He was on the penalty kill. A really solid debut for number 91.
Yeah, got all the use out of him in his first game as you could expect for a guy who jumps right into the lineup. No morning skate, no nothing. Just throw him in there and put him on a line with Jason Dickinson and Joey Anderson, and and it worked out. It was look like he had a wonderful debut. As much as we were saying, for Ethan Del Mastro, like made the simple plays, wasn't too noticeable. That's fine for a young defenseman. For Frank Nazar, boom, right onto the center stage, which was awesome to see.
And what's crazy is he almost scored before that on the power play.
Yeah.
Had a gaping net, and I think the nerves got the better of him on that one, and he shot it a little bit wide. But yeah, I mean, he was good. He was dynamic. He was making things happen. He's confident. He goes in front of the net. Again, power play, penalty kill, even strength. He kind of did it all.
Yeah.
Held his own at the face-off dot against a solid face-off team. I mean, what I really liked about this, too, was, when Del Mastro made his debut the other day, there was an acknowledgement, like, all right, cool, there's a prospect here. When Nazar came out, it was a big ovation.
Oh, yeah.
And he was getting those moments in this game like we saw with Connor Bedard throughout the year, where like when he touches the puck, there's like a little bit of an anticipation.
Yeah.
We were sensing that a lot from Nazar tonight. The crowd really understood what was going on. They really appreciated what was going on, and they blew up loud when he scored that goal. That was one of the cooler moments of the year.
It was awesome. I mean, look, Blackhawks fans are well educated about the direction of this team and what is important, and all season long, besides Connor Bedard, basically, Frank Nazar has been the young guy to watch, and been keeping up with the rebuild reports. You've been keeping up with everything. Like he has been as advertised since he's been drafted, and there's a reason that the Blackhawks, when in that 2022 draft, were so active to get into that draft. You got Korchinski, you got Nazar, you got Rinzel, all in the first round.
Yep.
Tonight was the first example of why you go all in on a rebuild, because you've seen Bedard all year, you've seen Korchinski all year. Vlasic has been great this season. Reichel, ups and downs. Kurashev, breakout season. And now you got Nazar showing up and taking the spotlight right away. You've got a lot of great young guys playing in Rockford, a team now 1 point after a win tonight, 1 point out of second place in the division, like already clinched the postseason. Like things are going really, really well for this organization as far as prospects go, and it's just fun to see Nazar as hyped up as he has been basically since being drafted to get onto the NHL stage and deliver right away.
Yep.
Awesome.
100%. All right, we've got our 4-star nominees up there. Here are the 3 stars of the game. Third star was Frank Nazar with his first NHL goal, 1543, a shot on goal, and he won 4 and lost 7 faceoffs. Andrei Svechnikov and Seth Hurley-Jarvis were your 2 and 1 stars. So here are your 4-star nominees in this one. Andreas Athanasiou with a goal, +1, 11:37 of ice time, 2 shots and 4 shot attempts. Went down hard in the third period, but did come back out and finish the game, so it seems like he's okay.
Back-to-back, barreling into Korchakov.
Well, despite the goal, there were some very Andreas Athanasiou moments in this game.
It was a full experience.
Yes, it was. Seth Jones with an assist, 25 minutes on the dot of ice time and 4 shots on goal. And Lukas Reichel with another strong game. He gets the assist on the Athanasiou goal for driving the net. They made the first save, but they scored on the second. 13:45 of ice time, 2 shots on goal, 3 shot attempts. But for the second game in a row, Reichel is a nominee for the 4-star, and he's doing all the things that this coaching staff was wanting to see from him before the Rockford demotion. They're seeing it on the promotion. He's doing everything right. The goals and the points will come. They've been there a little more lately. So, good way to end the season here for Lukas Reichel. But, yeah, man, I leave this game and I leave this home season feeling reasonably optimistic about things because, look, you debut 2 rookies in 2 consecutive games.
Yep.
Del Mastro and Nazar. And look, we can't draw any grand conclusions about either of those guys.
Nah, let's do it.
After a combined 3 games, but at no point did Nazar look out of place. He didn't look like the moment was too big for him.
Yeah.
He was just out there doing his thing, playing his game. Looked very similar to how he looked at Michigan.
Yep.
And when we talked to Landon Slaggert after his NHL debut, one of the things he observed was he said, the game moves more slowly than I thought it would.
Right.
It's less chaotic than the college game. And I know probably Nazar will speak tonight. I'm interested to see what he has to say about his thoughts on what's the difference between college and pro. How did it feel out there? Because he seemed to have a really good sense of where he was on the ice, the timing of the game. There were a couple times where he didn't have the puck, but playing center, he would drive the net and sort of time it up right with a shot on goal. He just seemed to have really good awareness out there.
Yeah, and first playing on adrenaline if you're in your first game, that'll definitely get you up to speed right away. But I mean, Nazar's been a guy all throughout his college career and playing at the World Juniors. He steps up to the moment, and I expected nothing less out of him in this game. And yeah, I mean, it's good to, again, you go back to playing with Joey Anderson and Jason Dickinson. That is a good pair of thank you. There's a good pair of players to put them with, because those are guys that will go into battles, go into corners. Dickinson and Anderson both play a little bit more defensively responsible, so it kind of allows Nazar to just tap into instincts. He doesn't have the X's and O's system already in his head. It's basically just go out there, don't do anything that you wouldn't do in a normal hockey game, and let your instincts take over. So I'm sure, as the next couple of days go by to finish out the season in the last 2 games of the year, he'll get more acclimated within the system and everything. But for tonight, it was just go out and play hockey. And it's funny how many times have we heard from either Luke or from some of the players about games where they just say, you know what, we just went out there and we just went out and played hockey the way we know how to play hockey. And just kind of not necessarily threw the X's and O's out, but it was just more
go play it.
They let themselves, play off of instinct, and they have good games. Part of me is just should they just say go out and play?
What was Foligno was telling us about the day the video
in Arizona?
Out. Yeah, and they're like, F it, we're just gonna go play our game, and they did. Look, we talk about this all the time when we have to find ourselves defending Luke Richardson. There's nothing in the system that's complicated. There's nothing that's confusing. No. It's not the Jeremy Colleton clown show. It's very straightforward hockey, so that's why they're able to put Del Mastro and Nazar and whoever else right into the lineup. And look, they'll make adjustments. They'll say, okay, next time do this, and they'll get some video in with them, and they'll get a little more used to exactly what they're trying to do. But it's not a complex game. Every time you hear someone break it down, it's pucks on net, traffic in front, keep it simple. I mean, it's it's not a complicated game, so that's why Nazar was able to jump right in there. By the way, Steven pointed out in the chat, we got a lot of new faces and new names in here.
Hello.
Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube page. Please hit that subscribe button and give us that thumbs up. And if you have that new weird YouTube layout where there's like a bunch of videos behind this one, the like button and the subscribe button are behind the chat. So you actually have to X out the chat,
So weird.
like it, subscribe to it, and then reestablish the chat. It's really dumb. It's big wig at YouTube saying, I'm going to revolutionize YouTube and F it up, even though it's been fine for 20 years. So if you have that new weird layout, which I do, X that out on the chat. Go hit that like button, subscribe button, and jump in. And, hey, while you're at it, you might as well become a CHGO diehard. Mario mentioned the rebuild report that comes out every week. I got my Blackhawks beat. You get a free shirt or hat upon sign up. You get 20% off all of our events, our takeovers, everything. 20% off all of our merch at CHGO Locker. I wore my CHGO pizza design that came out for the Chicago collection today.
Nice,
I was out at a softball game at Lewis, and I got like 3 or 4 people like, it's a cool shirt.
Nice.
Yeah,
There you
CHGOLocker.com.
go.
Get it. Go get the shirt. And speaking of diehards, our buddy Windy City Hockey made the trip up from St. Louis.
Yep.
Once again, delivered us some gummy bears. We appreciate that. Thank you very
Appreciate that.
much. And then our friend Bex
Yeah, it was.
doing the fine Tommy Hawk
Yeah,
game.
that was cool. Yeah, where you control the camera.
Yeah.
that was awesome.
So lots of good stuff. And I was in the elevator going down to meet some friends after warm-ups, and the guy said, hey, I really like CHGO. People are starting to find out about us. So
awesome.
do us a favor. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're a diehard, and start spreading the word.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Yeah, chances are you're not the only Hawks fan in your friend group. Tell your friends what's going on, and have them join us
and
here.
if you are, convert them. Hockey's fun.
A couple of people asking, do they think that will Nazar start next season in Rockford? And the Giggity said the way Nazar played today, not a chance he goes to Rockford next year. He's NHL ready. I think it's going to be up to him. And if he comes in to training camp in the preseason and is one of the more dynamic players on his team, it's going to be hard to keep him away. I think these next 2 games will dictate, too. Some tough competition.
I think there's a lot to decipher through the off season and through prospect camp and training camp and everything. I'll say this: if he's not at prospect camp, then I think there's a good indication that he's kind of fast tracked to getting an NHL opportunity, because I believe that's what happened with Vlasic this past year. He was not part of prospect camp and got the job coming out of training camp. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be opportunity there for sure. Like I find it hard to imagine, unless the Blackhawks are very active in free agency, that coming into training camp, a guy like Frank Nazar is not one of the 13 best forward options for the team moving forward. So we'll see. If he looks ready to go, by all means, let the kids cook. But if he needs the extra time, play in Rockford, there's no harm in that. We've seen it with Wyatt Kaiser. We've seen it with Vlasic. We've seen it with Reichel. We've seen it with Kurashev. Like, some of these guys, they need some of that time to develop before they jump right into the NHL. So if it's not right away, it's okay. It's not the end of the world.
Giggities again says Richardson put Nazar on power play 2 and the PK right away. He sees it with him. No other rookie got that much responsibility so fast. True. I also think part of it is where we're at in the season. Like, it's
there's also a little extra incentive. Just let the kids play.
Yeah. Right. So we'll see. I if I was to bet it today, I would bet he's on the team for opening day next year.
Sure. Yeah, I'll agree to that as well.
We'll see.
If I was putting something on Prize Picks, I'd pick the more than.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know Greg put some stuff on Prize Picks today, and he was swearing at Eric Stahl.
Jordan Stahl, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, the other
Not
thing
winning
that
faceoffs.
Nazar did really well in his first game is dominate Jordan Stahl at the faceoff dot. I think it was like 3 of the first 4 draws against Stahl. Nazar won, which was impressive to see, but also, yes, hurt Greg and I's Prize Pick entry for tonight's game, as we both selected the Jordan Stahl faceoff win option, the more than. So that was tough. But,
well, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
You can tell us about
You gotta tell us about Shift Hockey
Prize Picks
first,
in a
buddy.
little bit, but I'll tell you guys about Shift Hockey. Shift Hockey They are bringing the professional custom stick experience to organizations across Chicagoland. Give your team the opportunity to build personalized elite hockey sticks for a fraction of the cost. Plus, work with Shift's designers to create a fully custom stick wrap. You can find out more at shifthockey.com/teams or stop by their shop on the 3rd floor of Johnny's Ice House West here in Chicago. If you go to shifthockey.com, use the code CHGO, and you're going to get 10% off your next stick. And I can attest to the Shift Hockey sticks. I use them in my beer league games, which I will be happy to resume now that the Blackhawks will stop playing games on Sunday nights.
Nice.
I've missed the last 4 games because of
man.
Sunday night games. I must have misread the schedule wrong. I don't know. My Sundays and Saturdays got mixed up. Whatever. I'm gonna get back on the ice with my beer league team, and I'll be using my Shift hockey stick. And yeah, I love it. It's awesome. It's super light, but it still gives you that like sense of like a sturdy stick that even though it's so light, it's not gonna break, and it's
a nice
very
feature.
responsive. I love it.
There you can see down there underneath Mario's left elbow, there's a little stick blade. That's a Shift hockey stick right there.
Yeah, it's back there.
Yeah, looks nice. Check that out. Shift is very cool. And we were talking about Prize Picks. And if you're not sure what Prize Picks is, again, lots of new viewers today. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers, and instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 players and their stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. We were talking about it, honestly, between the 3 of us, at least 2 of us have a Prize Picks thing going.
Oh, yeah.
Every game, every night. We love it. It's a lot of fun. It's easy to play, and it keeps you like rooting and into the game. It's a lot of fun. You can get into playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. The playoffs begin on April 20th. The play-in round, April 16th, 17th, and 19th.
It's for the Bulls.
It's a lot of fun, Bulls.
Bulls in the play-in round. Ooh, yeah.
Should be
Get excited.
mediocre. Go to prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Very easy.
Very, very easy.
Yeah.
Let's do this too. Can we shout out Peter Mrazek? I know it's we've gotten to the point where maybe we take him for granted a little bit, but man, he was really keeping the Hawks in this game.
Yeah.
0 of those goals against were on him. There's a chance where Korchinski is under pressure behind the net, sends the puck up the boards towards Jared Tenorti, and if you miss Jared Tenorti by a foot, you might as well miss him by a mile.
Yeah.
The puck comes right in front to Jake Gensel, who has all day to score on Mrazek, and
Wide
Mrazek
open.
makes an unbelievable glove save. Truly like a one-on-one, almost like a shootout opportunity, and that was just one of the many great saves Mrazek made. Man, has he been good.
Yeah, he's been awesome all season. And, tonight, I mean, Korchinski owes Mrazek a nice, juicy steak for bailing him out on that play. But, I mean, it's unfortunate that, he wasn't able to get the win or at least get the game to overtime. But he kept them in this game. He's done that all season. And, I mean, to have about a 3 goals against average, hovering around 3, and then a over 900 save percentage on this team
Yeah.
for the full season, starting the most games that he's started all in his entire career. His health has held up, and he's been playing tremendously. I mean, Connor Bedard has been great. He's been that headline grabber. He's been the best rookie in the NHL all year. But there is a case to be made for Peter Mrazek being this team's best or most valuable player this year.
I mean, without him,
it's a lot worse. It's a
gonna
lot
do?
worse. Look at the games where Arvid Soderblom plays. Like it's much different.
yes.
Much different.
Yeah, and the team feels that. And we're going to be joined by Nick Foligno here momentarily, and we'll ask him, like, what is it like? How do you play differently when you know the guy behind you is reliable and is going to make that save
consciously or even subconsciously?
Yeah, exactly. So, a couple people mentioned this in the chat too. not one of Connor Bedard's better games. We're going to get to Connor's corner and a little bit of a surprise later in the show, too, you should stay tuned for. But one shot attempt for Bedard. Yeah, I think that's a season low.
They locked him down.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to happen. When he's basically the only offensive threat aside from Nazar.
Yeah. Well,
now, when Carolina says we're going to lock you down, they're going to lock you down.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's nice for Bedard, now that he's gotten to the end of this season, I think there's going to be a little bit of like maybe an exhale at the end of this year. He's gone through a lot on and off the ice, getting through the craziness to begin the year and everything. I think there's going to be probably a nice sigh of relief for this season to be over with, as fun as it probably has been for him at different points. But being so focused on every night, but he did that in juniors. But he was able to outplay most of those other teams. At this level, he's going to need a little bit of help, and I think it's nice. It's a nice little treat for him to kind of see, hey, here's Landon Slaggert last couple of games of the year. Here's Frank Nazar a few games of the year. Here's a rejuvenated Lucas Reichel. Here's Ethan Delmas. Like, it's not only for the fans and for the team, but also for Connor to be like, here's your help coming along. Yeah. Like you're not going to have to do everything by yourself for the long run here. So,
and speaking of help for Connor, joining us now live from the United Center, it is team father, alternate captain, and Connor Bedard's probably second most common line mate, Nick Foligno. What's up, Nick? How's it going?
How you guys doing? Good. Team father, that sounds good.
It's a little more, father is way more official and dignified than dad.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And it doesn't sound as weird as daddy.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, we won't do that.
I was about to make a dirty joke there, and I won't do it.
Oh, you're allowed. The floor is yours, by all means.
No, it's not a good one. This is a family show.
Fair enough. All right, well, thanks for joining us. I know it's always difficult after a loss, but this was I think when Hawks fans look back on this season and this game, they're going to feel good about it. You've got another young kid coming in right away and making his impact felt, 10 minutes into the game, he's got an almost goal and then a goal. It's got to be cool to be seeing this future with him and Del Mastro coming in. What did you make of Nazar's debut?
I was impressed. I mean, I like his swagger. Just talking to him, he's a kid that just doesn't seem like he gets fazed by the big lights. And obviously, look at him today. I mean, he had two great scoring chances, scored on one, and just looked comfortable out there. And that's really exciting to see a kid like him come in and know that we have that coming down the pipeline. So another really positive sign of the future. But I'm also a here and now guy, so I want to make sure we surround the future with some real positive players and positive impact guys that we can, take the next step come next year.
Is there a sense, back-to-back games, you guys have had a player make their NHL debut? Do you guys, as a group that's been there all season, do you kind of get up a little bit for that atmosphere to be like, hey, like let's give this kid a game to remember?
I do. I mean, I can't speak for everybody in there, but I get really excited when I see a kid come in and make his debut. I think it's, you go right back to when you had yours and how excited you were and all the promise and all the work and everything that you think about that goes into that first game, all the people that have gotten you to that point. So I get so excited because I know there's probably a ton of people in the stands watching him from at home and through the TV and and now they're all Chicago Blackhawks fans. So, it's a great thing when you see kids making their debut and have earned it. And obviously, how exciting of a player he is. But even for Del Mastro, I thought he stepped in and played really well his first game. It's just unfortunate. You want those to be good memories too, and that's where I get sad because, we lay an egg the other night for Del Mastro. But tonight, at least we had that a little bit more compete, a little more of our style of play. And it's unfortunate with that penalty at the end that I feel like isn't one. And they step away with the win. But I would like to have seen us just play 5-on-5 the rest of the way and, have the game kind of end that way.
Yeah, that did feel a little bit ticky-tack, and then you also had the near offside play, and they showed us pretty much every angle we could see. And I get where the refs are they can't wave it off because it's so close, but it's got to be when you're hanging with a team that's that good and that deep, and you're they had a big shot advantage, but whatever, who cares?
They're also a shot quantity team. They're a shot quantity team too. I always say that, like playing against certain teams, sometimes it's deceiving because they're peppering shots from the perimeter a lot of times too, and they're not dangerous. I kind of learned that in being in Boston, whereas the coach I had the first year was more of a shot quantity, and then you got Montgomery, who's more of a shot quality guy, and it's amazing how a lot of times those analytics work in your favor if you're not just peppering the goalie, you're actually finding ways to get on the inside. It's a mindset. Obviously, it's something we can do better, but I don't really get too caught up in that sometimes because I think it can be deceiving. I thought tonight we actually played a decently solid game and deserved a better fate than a penalty like that to decide the game.
Well, let's go back to your first game. What do you remember about that? Do you remember how the day felt and what it felt stepping on the ice the first time, and the hair flowing back then with the with the bucket off? Maybe
I made a joke. I tell the guys all the time, like whenever a new guy comes in, they're probably sick of hearing it. But I always be like, "Oh yeah, Gordie Howe was flying around the ice, and Bobby Hull was taking slap shots when my first game." And but it feels like that now, how young these guys are. And but I definitely remember it was in the the mecca of hockey where Ottawa Senators playing the Toronto Maple Leafs in Toronto, and it was pretty special. Obviously, a place that my dad had played, and it was close for my family to be able to come down. So I had a ton of people. Had a really good chance to score, and Andrew Raycroft made the save, which pissed me off. But yeah, it was just amazing. We ended up winning the game too, in I think a shootout or an overtime. I can't remember, but it was just an awesome experience and feeling. And and just like I said, you realize how many people have supported you along the way. That was my biggest thing. After the game, you go out and there's tons of people waiting to hug you and congratulate you. And you realize it does take a village a lot of times to get you to that point. And you become so thankful that you had all those people in your corner to push you to the NHL. And then I always say it's one thing to get there. It's another thing to stay. And I'm very thankful. It's been 17 years later.
Well, it's cool you mentioned that because I remember at this year's draft, Adam Fantilli had like everyone that ever helped him on the way in the seam of his coat. Mm-hmm. And we saw when Landon Slager made his debut after the game, he goes up in the stands and there's 20 or 30 people there waiting for him, hugging him. They got tears in their eyes, and it's more than just these guys. I saw Nazar had his family in a skybox tonight. Yeah. Like there's so much more to it than just this guy's good at hockey and got here. It's amazing. It was very cool to see.
It's awesome. It's awesome, and I think it's even for like Slager, it was hilarious because I went up. I had some family in town, and I went up, and I swear to God, there was 100 people for Slags just because of the proximity. And but that was just awesome to see because all those people were so proud and happy to be able to be there, and obviously they meant enough for him that to him that they were brought down after the game. So you could see what kind of kid he is already to have that kind of support, and you can learn a lot about those guys through the people that are there supporting them. And I'm thrilled for those guys to get to play in front of their families.
Nick, as you see a lot of these guys start to come in, are you as a player that came in and kind of knew what was going on with the organization from what they wanted to try and accomplish? You see these young guys coming in here. You have you got your contract extension earlier this year. What's the sense that you get as a guy that's here to kind of help along the next generation as well as contribute in the here and now? What's the sense that you're getting as you see some of these young guys come into the lineup and start to play and start to have some of these moments?
Yeah, I'm actually very encouraged. I think you're only as good as the prospects that you can develop in a lot of ways, right? Like it's hard to go out and find free agents. It's hard because a lot of times you overpay or you don't quite know what their mindsets are at, or And a lot of times, if you can develop, those are the best teams, the teams that have the strong minor league programs. Those guys play for a while and they step in. They seem to just really make an impact. I honestly talk about some of the better teams I've been on. Columbus, our team won the Calder Cup one year, and all those guys come up, and now we're a way better team because you're developing from within. There's a confidence, there's a sense of pride to play for that organization. You look at Tampa Bay Lightning are great examples. They let a lot of those guys marinate in the minors before they brought the Kucherovs and the Tyler Johnsons and Palats and those guys up, right? And boom, now they're Stanley Cup contenders because those guys have really matured as players, found out who they are, and they step up into an NHL lineup and really can make an impact. So I get excited about seeing some of these kids and their poise already. And yeah, there maybe needs some more time marinating, but it's promising when you're trying to get to where you're trying to go and know that, okay, these guys can help plug in at some point. And whether it's next year or the year after, it's great to know that we have these kind of prospects coming. And it excites me, and and it pushes me to make sure I'm doing my job and holding everyone accountable to push this thing forward. We need to be a team that's in the mix. I'm not going to promise a playoffs next year, but I want us to be down to the wire. If not, one of those teams like Pittsburgh and Detroit and the Islanders, whoever's fighting for it right now, is that's the kind of, I expect that from us. We need to have meaningful games down the stretch, and that's how you improve as a team and as a core, and that's how you build a core.
Well, I think part of that too, Nick, and we this is probably when we're not breaking down a game, this is sort of the thing we talk about the most on the show. We do it 5 days a week. There's a lot to get to. Is like, okay, so next year, what does it look like, right? Because everyone understands, like, when you got traded here, you understood it's a rebuild. There's going to be more L's than W's this year, and it's part of it. But at the same time, you get in the fear of, like, what if these young players get used to losing and get used to games that, like, air quotes, don't matter, right? Like, that's going to, I don't know, that can, at some point, if guys start to not hate losing anymore, that could be a problem too, don't you think?
100%. I think that's one of the things you have to balance and always be fearful of is, and I don't want to name names, but I see players around the league that when the pressure's off, they haven't made the playoffs, maybe there's 20 games left, all of a sudden they seem to be a point per game player because it's, it doesn't matter, right? And now all of a sudden they play free. But when the pressure's on, those are the players that you want to see perform. You want our guys to know what it means, like to feel like to have a game where this play matters. This chip out of the zone matters because it's the difference between maybe getting in the playoffs or not, and understanding how to perform and that breakaway that you had, it matters, and that's important for Connor Bedard to feel. That's important for Frank Nazar to feel, for Vlasic to feel, for Korch to feel, for myself to feel, right? Like those. I've had it for the past 9 years, and you don't have it, and it's amazing how it eats at you a little bit, right? There, where you go into a game, and I hate to say it, but you're looking for motivation because usually the motivation is, all right, we got a chance. There's a carrot dangling there for the playoffs, or we're building towards something. Well, now we've been out of it for a little while, and there's a sense of just being a professional now and learning that side too, and that's where I've tried to tell our guys is. There's always a chance to learn and get better and improve, even in this situation where, okay, maybe we're not playing for playoffs, but you're playing to be a pro and approach this as the way you should if you're trying to make the playoffs, and have that mindset so that when the time comes and we're playing into May and June, we're ready and comfortable, or those games in February where it's the dog days, but we're right in the thick of it, they matter. That win matters. It's not a Tuesday night and wherever and we'll see how this one goes. No, it's we need these 2 points real bad, and what are we going to do to tooth and nail and get it? And that's what I want our team to feel next year. We have to have that mindset, that hunger, and that's how we're going to become the team that we're trying to get to become, and not one of those other ones that toils and is looking to rebuild for years and years.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it before the game. Walking in, it's 80 degrees, it's sunny. It kind of felt like the playoff time, except, the game is, the games are ending pretty soon here. But yeah, I mean, that's something that I think we all notice and that we all know is important for these guys, for this team moving forward here. And, you see it, what was it last year? The Florida Panthers basically were playing in playoff mode since early February, and it carried them all the way through to the Cup final because, they were in that mode, and teams that get into that mode You mentioned like Detroit and Pittsburgh, like, they're fighting for it. They're not just teams that might claw into the wild card. Like they might actually like make some noise because they've been in that mentality and that mindset for so long.
Those are dangerous teams to play in the first round. When they're, they get in, they're on an emotional high. They have nothing to lose, and I witnessed it firsthand last year with the Florida Panthers came together, and we had played some. We had already clinched, and those are dangerous too. Obviously, it's great to be President's Trophy winners, but those are tough too. In the games, you're kind of just biding your time, not trying to get hurt, and then all of a sudden it plays for real, and you don't find a way to get it done. So that's the psyche, that's the mindset in the NHL, and that's the hard part. That's why it's hard to win in this league, and that's why it's important to have these meaningful games and this understanding of what it takes to be an impactful hockey player when the pressure's on. And that's something I really want to see our team be a part of next year.
Well, it's one thing, we've been covering a team now for a couple of years, and I know we don't get the greatest sense of the way things are when we're in the room after practice, but despite the results this year, it does seem like the team is pretty close-knit. It does seem like guys are optimistic and having fun. Like when I'm walking into the game today, I can hear the guys playing soccer in the hallway and they're laughing or having a good time. It seems like despite it, the team has stayed close. The team has stayed optimistic. Would you agree with that?
Big time. And listen, you can walk around here all miserable and put that front on, but what is that really doing besides? I find it actually selfish, to be honest with you. I find it when you're walking around with a pout face and acting like you're all mad and, well, okay, but at the end of the day, we're still a job to do. There's still a mentality to have. There's still you can hate to lose, but there still has to be an energy that you play with. There's a responsibility to bring a joy and excitement to the game, because that's honestly how you play better. Like if you're just pouting around the ice, a lot of times your focus isn't on what it needs to be on, and that's the energy you need to have. You're thinking of all the negative things. So I don't mind playing with a snarl. There's a difference where you have a little attitude, a little pushback, but not this woe is me attitude that unfortunately some people have. And I just think we've really worked hard as a group to build that culture here of a close-knit group, regardless of what's gone on this year, and we care about each other. We're in this together, right? Like we're in the shit together. So we're going to try and figure out a way out of it. And, that's an important culture and mindset to build here, especially during a tough season like this, where it's easy to go the other way. It's easy to say frustration is building. But I always say frustration is a useless emotion, and it really is. It takes your energy away from you. And I think we've done a decent job of keeping that at bay. Obviously we're not perfect. And I think the past few games, there's been some mental frustration and physical frustration that's set in, but tonight I liked our response and coming out and playing against a really good team and playing the right way.
This was the last home game of the year. Your first full year playing in Chicago. What was your biggest takeaway this year playing at the UC regularly and that experience with this team?
I mean, I loved playing here at the UC in front of our fans. I mean, the support that we had all year at home with the situation that we were in just shows how much these fans care. And that's not even a cliche response. It's just look at the arena. It was packed every night. Yeah, maybe it's the Connor Bedard effect, but I think they also appreciated the effort that we had a lot of nights in knowing that maybe, we were up against it a lot of times with the roster or the situations, injuries, but that there was going to be a good product and something to be excited about in the future. And, I really appreciate the fans, and I just couldn't get over that. Honestly, it was better than I even anticipated. The anthem gave me chills every time I came here as a player on the road. So to have that, in my sales now was a lot better and just more enjoyable just to see the reaction and how many family members of mine or friends would come to games and just say, this might be the best atmosphere I've ever been a part of. So it's a special place. And that's why I want so badly to get back to the success and give these fans and our organization the respect and credibility that we're working towards. And if we do that, man, this place is going to be a lot of fun like it was for years.
I think, you mentioned the Bedard effect, and I think that's the thing, but I think part of the reason the fans have been so supportive is the front office has been transparent about what they're doing. And not to kiss your ass, but like they bring in a guy like you who is accountable and meets the media win or loss, and and says what needs to be said, says what he believes, and we're seeing more and more 17 jerseys and 17 hats around the United Center. There's not a show that goes by that doesn't say you should be the captain. So, yeah, I think the Bedard effect is part of it, but I think that fans are seeing all right, it's going to be a little bit rough here for a while, but we get it. We understand the direction here, and I think that's a big part of it. And I was really impressed, and I want to know how you felt about this too. Nazar takes the ice for the rookie lap, and they announced him in the starting lineup, and fans knew who Frank Nazar was. Bedard is one thing, right? Mm-hmm. But the fans are keeping track of all this stuff that's going on, and it's really cool. And I was very impressed by, wow, that was a hell of an ovation for a guy who is not, a household name around the league.
Yeah, especially a Michigan guy too around here. So, I was really impressed with that, and I think you're bang on with that. It's just that they truly care, and that's what it feels like here. So I really enjoyed that ovation for him, because I think he felt the love too. And, you put that kind of support behind a kid like that, his first game, and look what he does. So we're very lucky to have the fan base we have. And as for the Foligno jerseys, I don't know if you saw me, but I've been handing out jerseys the past couple games, so that's probably why. But,
we weren't going to mention that,
special.
But we weren't going to say anything, but, we know you're too honest. And the other thing too, and I wonder if you guys noticed this, they showed Marian Hossa on the scoreboard during the game today, and the place was up for grabs. And I think that's something that as you have these young players, you just go, look at that. When you win in this town, you are a god here forever. Mm-hmm. And I like to tell the story. I may have said it to you before, Nick, that the punter for the 85 Bears had a car deal for 30 years just because he was on that team. He's the most insignificant player in the world. Maury Buford. Why do I remember the 85 Bears punter's name? Because he was on the 85 Bears. They won a championship. If you win here, there is no town that treats you better. And I hope some of those young guys see that that's Marian Hossa, and the ovation he gets every time they show him or Sharp or whoever's in town. They all get that, and these guys will be beloved forever. And I hope the young guys take notice of that.
I love that you said that, because absolutely. I think that's one thing that I always try to make guys understand. Even watching Chelly's jersey retirement, if you play the game the right way, and absolutely, if you win, that's even more important. If you win here, you're a legend here, and it doesn't matter if you're the biggest player on the team or one of the no-name guys that's a role player that just works his ass off. You're remembered, and it's amazing to me how many people remember some of the role players more than even the big guys, because they appreciated what they meant to that championship team. And that's the beauty of winning, is it takes everyone. That's what I love about the National Hockey League, is you can't win with just one player. Otherwise, Connor McDavid would probably have 5 Stanley Cups by now. You need everybody. And you're treated like a god in this city if you do win and you do play with your heart and you give it everything you have. And I think, like you said, it's a great lesson for all these guys to see a guy like Marian Hossa and what he meant to this organization, and so many other guys. You saw the ovations for Keith and Seabrook, and the list goes on of those teams, right? And man, they were fun to watch. I hated playing against them, but I hope to be that team for these fans for a lot of years to come.
Yeah, it's something that I love about this city is how much people will invest and embrace those teams that embody what Chicago loves to see in winning teams and competitive teams, and the type of people that they can cling to as players. We were talking before you jumped on, Nick, about Peter Mrazek and the season that he's had, and tonight was another night where it seemed like he was doing everything he could to keep the game close, and all season long. I think you bring in the totality of what he's done this year. We were saying you could make a compelling case that he was pretty much the MVP for this team for this season. How much is there a difference in how you guys attack the game with Mrazek in net this year, the way that he's been playing? Is there you get a little bit of an extra, we got a shot tonight?
Yeah, well, first of all, he's just loved in the locker room. So and so he is as well. It's just there's a thing about Peter, that, he's a really well-liked guy. Sometimes goalies can keep to themselves, but he's a guy that gets right in the mix with everybody chirping, and so you automatically love him because I call him, he's a gamer. That's what Peter Mrazek is. And when you watch him in practice, he competes. He gets pissed when he gets scored on. He's in your face. He's chirping you. And then when it comes to the game times, he's all in. Like he's dialed. And absolutely, is he our MVP? 100%. And that's no disrespect to Connor Bedard and some of the other guys that have had great years. But without Peter, a lot of nights the games are maybe not won or not even close, with just some of the things we've been up against with injuries and whatnot. So I'm really, really impressed with him as I've gotten to know him. He's a great human, a great pro, and I think just seeing him healthy is really exciting for us. But yeah, absolutely, we appreciate when he's behind us and playing the way he's playing, and we need that to continue, obviously, for us to have success in the next year. But man, he's impressed me, and I think he's impressed every guy with the way he's handled himself this year, especially on some nights where we really haven't given him a lot of run support or support in general. He hasn't complained. He just keeps chugging, and that's the kind of teammate he is.
All right, Nick, you've been super generous with your time. We appreciate you as always. If you see Teuvo Teravainen on your way out, give him a little sales pitch for us. He's free agent this summer. Just saying. And we appreciate the time, man. We'll talk to you soon. Be well, and let's finish season strong here.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, Nick. Take care. That's Nick Foligno. His segment is always sponsored by Shift Hockey. Go to shifthockey.com and use that code CHGO for 10% off your next stick. We got to take a break here. When we come back, you're going to hear from Frank Nazar. Is he going to be on with us? Stay tuned to find out. He's not going to be on with us, but that's okay. We're going to hear from him anyway.
Oh, you're going to break some news.
We got to do Connor's Corner. We got to do Who's Your Hawk. We got a bunch to do and very little time to do it, so stick with us. Smash that like button for us while you're waiting, and Mario's going to tell you about stuff.
Yeah, the stuff being Game Time. Hi, Greg. How you doing? Game Time. They are the best place to go to get all of the tickets that you need in your life for all the events you want to go to, because you don't need to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. So do it through Game Time. It's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events nearest to you. With their killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seats, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Love the all-in prices. You don't have to, select 3 tickets to the Blackhawks home finale. Oh, $50 a piece. Not too bad. You get to check out. Oh, just kidding. It's $75 a ticket because we didn't tell you about all the fees and everything. With Game Time, what you see is what you're going to pay. No hidden fees. No last minute little price pinpoints here and there. What you see is what you're going to pay, and they have the lowest price guarantee, which means if you go and find the same ticket or the same seat at a different site and you bring it to Game Time, they will credit you 110% of the ticket difference. That's how much Game Time cares that you are getting the right price through them. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHGO. When you do that, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Guys, we are 8 months exactly from Frank Nazar's 21st birthday.
Hey now.
And why is that significant?
Well,
because on that day, he can
chill.
His very first Coors Light.
Very first one.
And maybe chill after a Hawks win.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he sets up Ethan Del Mastro for a power play goal. Or
8 months. That's December?
January. So maybe it's 9 months. 8 plus 4 is 12. So, 9 months.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's a good month to have a birthday.
Is the day. January 14th. He'll be 21, and we'll get him a nice case of Coors Light so he can chill with his teammates after a great Hawks game, just like you do. Because when those mountains turn blue, Coors Light is as cold as the Rockies. It's cold filtered, cold lagered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. When it's time to chill, open a Coors Light. That's what we do here. Got one right here, ice cold. It is mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. When it's time to chill, Coors Light is the beer we reach for. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Before we hear from Frank Nazar, why don't we knock out some of these super chats we've got here. We appreciate seeing a bunch of those in there. I got one from Alton for $10. Says 2 years ago I was trying to look for a good Blackhawks podcast and ran into you guys. Have been here ever since.
Oh, wow.
Just wanted to say I got mad love for you guys and keep up the great work. Thanks, Alton.
Thanks,
yeah,
Alton.
and keep looking for a good Hawks podcast. But in the meantime, man, we got you. We are here. And Steven, I think B-Lat is the right way to say it. $150 super chat.
Love
Says,
that.
guys, thanks for another great season talking about our favorite NHL team. Thank you, Steven. Steven's here a lot.
Appreciate that.
The Snoopy avatar always makes me smile. Appreciate that.
Just come to our events as well.
Yeah, Steven was at, was it a takeover or a watch party? I can't remember.
Is it both?
Might have been both, but I remember talking to Steven
think.
for a little bit. Yeah, that's awesome. Really appreciate that. And yeah, we got 2 more games left of this season, and then it's off season, and we'll be here. As much as we were during the regular season, we will be here as much during the offseason.
Yeah, and speaking of watch parties, Steven, everybody else, if you want to join us, April 22nd at 6 p.m., we're going to be at the Barn Hockey Bar watching the playoffs. Coming out and join us. It's going to be a good time. We'll be there at 6. There's a bunch of games that night. We're going to hang out all night long. Nothing that needs a ticket. Just come hang out.
Yeah.
The Barn Hockey Bar right there on Ogden between Adams and Monroe. They were in the chat earlier today.
Forgot to give Nick the invite.
We'll see him. We'll see him. We'll invite him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a good time. So come on out to the Barn, April 22nd, 6 p.m. Come hang out with us. A couple more super chats coming in, Steven.
Yes.
Saw a couple here. Gravely Diggs, who's with us pretty much every show.
Pretty much.
$5 says, thanks, fellas, for the great coverage.
Thank you.
And KRCHI Sports with a $2 super chat says, anyone else notice that Nazar looks taller? Those are the skates. He's on skates.
They put lifts in the skates. Yeah.
Yeah, him and Ron DeSantis.
He'll get right to that even 5 foot or 6 foot rather.
Yeah. So, all right. With all that out of the way, we appreciate those super chats. Keep them coming. We'll keep reading them. Let's hear from Frank Nazar after the game. This filmed by our very own Greg Boyson.
So, what was going through your mind on that breakaway goal there? Did you believe what was happening?
Not really too much. It was a nice play at the blue line, and I was able to go in, and I was just kind of shooting for whatever was open.
What have these last 48, 72 hours been like for you?
Pretty hectic, honestly. I mean, from being at the Frozen Four to flying in last night, and then figuring out I was playing today, it was really crazy. So I'm a little exhausted, but it was a blast.
How difficult was the decision? What did it come down to turn pro?
It was a really hard decision. Just me and my family had to put things together, pros and cons, and just look at what we needed to look at, and it just all came down to what was best, and I know I made the right choice.
How did the speed feel for you in a real game? I mean, you've been with these type of guys before, but now this is the real competition.
Yeah, it definitely felt pretty fast. I mean, college hockey's still really great, and I think just where I played was awesome, and was able to get me ready for where I need to be at right here and right now. So all credit to that.
Did the World Juniors and how you finished up at Michigan help you make this decision in terms of how it set you up?
Yeah, 100%.
How much are you looking forward to next season playing a full 82 games, whether it's here in Rockford, just kind of preparing your body mentally and physically for that?
Definitely getting that full pro season under my belt. It's gonna be great, and just know I'm gonna have a great summer of workouts and training. So then I come in just better than I am today.
Is this one of those things where until you go home, put your head down on the pillow and think about everything that's happened the last few days, it'll hit you?
Yeah, I mean last night in the plane in, it hit me pretty hard, and it definitely was some motivation going into tonight's game.
Was it nerves going into tonight? Or?
Yeah, who wouldn't have nerves going into their first NHL game? And it was nice to get one early there, kind of calm it and play a little bit more poise. But the guys here have done a really good job, and they've been really nice and welcoming, and it's been really great.
Have you watched the replay?
No, I have not.
What about winning that first draw? Was that like?
I got a nice bounce there, so I was thanking the ref after.
Was the celly pre-planned, or was it?
No, it was just whatever I felt.
I was gonna say, what do you call that, celly?
Honestly, I don't know. A few of my buddies do it, so I kind of stole it from them.
How did you like the anthem as an American? Did it live up to what you've heard about in Chicago?
Yeah, I take a lot of pride in the anthem. Honestly, like I just love seeing it, and everybody like having so much passion and joy from the anthem, and it's awesome, especially representing my country overseas and in worlds, and be able to do great it means a lot to me. So seeing that
and then
gave me goosebumps.
As a Michigan man, Jim Harbaugh would always say, "Who's got it better than us?" Has anybody had it better than you? Maybe this year in terms of hockey.
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question.
It seemed like right before the goal, you had a pretty good look on the power play. Were you?
Yeah.
What does that feel like? That like I missed my chance almost.
Yeah, a little bit, but usually when something like that happens, you're bound to get another one. So I end up working out. So I was happy.
How many friends do you have here?
A lot of people. A lot of people drove up, and I mean a day's notice, so it's awesome. I can't wait to go see them and just celebrate.
Were you feeling it about a third period?
Yeah, I mean I was feeling a little tired, but I think that's just jet lag.
How much did you watch the Blackhawks while you were in college this season, and how excited were you to get to play with Connor finally?
I definitely watched them a lot more in the beginning of the season, and then once Michigan season started to get going, I kind of blacked everything Blackhawks related out. Obviously, I keep up if they're winning, how guys are doing, but I just wanted to focus on where I was at and do my best to help that team.
And I know you dealt with the injury last year. How quickly did you feel like you were back to yourself this year?
I'd probably say around like halfway through the year. After World Juniors, I think that's when just confidence started to come back and started to feel more just like I could take over and just make plays.
A lot of you guys from the World Junior team, really took off after the tournament. The guys at Minnesota too, a real good springboard for you guys.
Yeah, it's just being able to go up against the top end talent in the countries, and just knowing that you can make plays against them and be a great player out there on the ice. It definitely gives you a lot of confidence going back into college.
For some of the young guys on the team, did anybody give you any specific advice that stood out?
Just honestly, I don't know. Just like enjoy it, take it all in. Obviously, that's the basic stuff. Just play my game. That was about it. Just be myself.
Where do you feel like your game grew the most this year in Michigan?
I'd probably say more of like the poise and like offensive like abilities, and just being able to create more ozone. Coach Narado, I worked with him a lot on that, and just being able to see plays like that. Off the rush, I feel that I was really great going in, and he'll help me work on the ozone, so I think that's a big thing that I was working on.
Cool.
And amazing.
We're not laughing.
We're
at
back.
Frank.
We're back.
Mario just showed me a meme. That's what I'm laughing at. Good stuff from him. And I mean, the point that it's like, man, I'm exhausted. Like, think about the last few days for him. What did Michigan lose Friday?
Crazy.
Thursday?
What's today? Sunday?
Yeah.
They lost Thursday night.
Thursday night. So from his team being eliminated, he decides to sign in the NHL, gets to Chicago, plays in an NHL game. Like, it's got to be a whirlwind for him.
It's crazy.
It's just wild. Like, and a lot of these guys, like Slager was through this, and Del Mastro, he was called up. But, I mean, just a lot of these young guys are like, hey, your season's over. Come on up. You're playing with very short notice. And I don't know. Maybe that's the right way to do it, is to not have him think about it too much. And Nazar said, like, when I found out I was playing today, it was kind of crazy. Like, don't tell him right away so he's not thinking about it for 48 hours.
Yeah.
It's cool. It was a cool moment. And look, like, you could talk about the result of the game all you want. Frank Nazar might recall that a little bit. We asked Foligno, and he's like, I think we won in a shootout or something.
Yeah, right.
You know, he remembers that game.
Yeah.
And the way it felt for him.
He remembers Andrew Raycroft making a save on him.
Yeah.
You know, not necessarily the the exact result of the game. So I'm sure for a guy like Nazar, it's going to be, the memory is going to be in what was his third or fourth shift of his NHL career. Yeah. He had a open look breakaway and scored. Like, that's awesome.
What I like that he said too about the chance he missed on the power play, says usually when you get a chance like that, you're going to get another one.
Yeah.
So that was cool to hear. And Charlie the Bacon guy with the comment says, I haven't seen a ton of the game, but I saw his first lap. He looked like he took most in on the first lap, clearly looking around and taking it in. It was pretty neat. Yeah, so you see him, he takes the ice alone. The spotlight's on him, shoots the puck, then he kind of peels off along the right wing boards. And as he goes by, I don't know if a fan said something or if he saw a sign, but Nazar kind of looked back at the boards, and maybe he was just taking in all the fans there cheering for him.
Yeah.
Clearly. And there were some pictures on the Hawks social media, too, of him, he's got his backpack on, like first day of school,
Getting into
like
that,
looking
yeah.
around the United Center, and
Yeah.
it's got to be just an amazing feeling, and it's something that I think everyone who's ever played sports has dreamed of that. Of, oh man, what would it be like to play at the United Center or play at Wrigley Field or wherever? And these guys get to do it, and it's something I'll never forget. And I'm glad that Frank Nazar got his moment and got his flowers in front of the Chicago crowd today, because it was really one of the more memorable moments of the season for sure. On a season short on highlights, that was certainly one of the good ones.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. So with that, we got to start knocking out our segments. Why don't we go to Connor's Corner first, shall we?
Not a very eventful corner.
Yeah, not the greatest game for Connor Bedard today. 2013 of ice time, no points, no shots on goal. He had one shot attempt, 1-4, lost 5 of his faceoffs. And look, even bad games for Bedard, he's still going to be a factor. He was certainly a focal point for the Carolina Hurricanes today. But I also think, I didn't want to ask Nick about this because I don't think he likes not praising his teammates, but I think we could be seeing a running out of gas situation for some of these guys.
Yeah,
it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
It's been, and it's different because like Bedard and Korchinski and those guys, they play 60, 70 games of junior hockey in those seasons, OHL, WHL, all that stuff, and then postseason games and stuff. So they'll play a large number of games compared to where college guys are playing between 30 and 40 depending. But this is 70, 80 NHL games as a teenager. That's going to wear on you.
And the attention.
And all the other, the other demands. The travel is different. You're not taking a bus from Regina to Everett. You're taking a flight from Chicago to Phoenix or to LA and all that stuff. LA. So it's a different grind, and I think it is catching up with some of these young guys. So hopefully, these last 2 games, they can get through and get to the off season, let their young bodies heal up and start next year fresh and ready to go.
Definitely. All right, now we have our new segment we're going to debut just for today. Steven, you want to debut it? You did all the work.
Yeah, so we're this is a little playoff of Connor's Corner. I'm calling it Nazar's Nook.
There you go. There's a look at Frank Nazar's former college dorm at Michigan. Nazar's Nook.
What's on the wall? What is that? Or no, that's on his shelf.
That's a razor.
The razor with
okay.
little
With some
facial
stubble.
hair.
Connor Bedard doesn't need that yet.
He shaved his Michigan playoff beard. Yeah,
he's got the Xbox Series S. He will be upgrading now that his NHL contract has come through.
Nice.
You got the dirty laundry, the pizza box, the Taylor Swift poster, of course, and some other items in there if you look closely. Frank Nazar with a goal, 15:43 of ice time. He had a shot on goal, 1-4, and lost 7 of his faceoffs. But just a really noticeable debut for the kid. And boy, do I love number 91. That's a good-looking number.
It's a good look on him. Now, I wonder what's going to happen when they sign Steven Stamkos. Is he going to change it?
Unretire number 9.
Sure.
People love that.
Sure. That'll go over well. Well, there's a high likelihood 22 is going to be open next year.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a route that he could go. But, if he keeps 91, that's fine. Paul Ludwinski will have to find a new number.
That's fine. There's numbers for everybody.
He'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 95 of them.
Yeah, at least. The Hockey Barn, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see what you saw. I don't know.
1, 3.
Couldn't possibly have been that. What else we got to do? We got to do Who's Your Hawk winner? 18, wait, let's do 4-star first.
21, 35, 81.
Do we have a winner?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was until just now. But
is it a blowout or is it close?
So
what's the percentages?
It's close. It's 46%. For the winner.
He wasn't.
I won't tell you who it is yet.
He wasn't a nominee.
And it's 35% for second place.
Pretty close.
All right.
So our winner today is
drum roll.
Andreas Athanasiou.
All right, Athanasiou gets the 4-star of the game.
Nice.
He was definitely noticeable out there. That's for damn sure. Scored his second goal of the season, set up by Lucas Reichel. A couple crash moments. That was
a full Athanasiou experience.
But he was mostly effective in this one. There was one, the play we're kind of joking about, tongue in cheek, is created a really nice scoring chance for himself, split traffic, stick handled, and then at the last second lost the puck. But you're starting to see him feel probably a little bit more confident, trusting.
Yeah.
The injury is healed. was obviously took a couple big hits today and bounced back. So I think for a guy who's coming off a long-term injury like that, you kind of need those moments here and there to feel completely back at it. And I'm glad to see Athanasiou having a solid game today.
Absolutely. Yeah. He needs it.
Yeah, he definitely needs it. All right. And
You want to
that's
put
probably my last chance.
Put your helmet on. There you go.
I had faith in Frank.
You played the rookie NHL debut momentum.
Damn right.
And,
please don't
worked
get
out.
the close-up cam on me, Steven, when I have
No,
that on.
you have to do the
I wish I could
zoom out
more
as
now.
much as possible. Just turn the camera completely around.
Yeah.
I had Frank Nazar. I was the winner. Who'd you have, Bedard?
I had I went with Landon Slaggert.
Ah, yes.
That was before he was put down in the lineup. But whatever, I stuck with it.
Greg had Bedard. Now the best we can do is Greg can tie me.
Yeah,
so if he doesn't win next game,
2 games left. You have a 2-game lead over Greg for second place. So yeah, best that he can do is tie you, which would be lame. We need to have a 1-2.
Yeah, we'll have to fight to the
a
death
1-2-3
if that happens.
We'll
have to make like a wrestling bet or something like that in the meantime. All right, we're going to wrap things up. We are back tomorrow at 2:30. No practice, so I think the plan is a mailbag show. We haven't done a mailbag Monday in a while.
Well, we've had some games on Mondays and stuff going on. Yeah.
So mailbag Monday. Hit us up on Twitter. We'll send a tweet that you can respond to. Diehards, get in that members only Discord. Send your pictures there. As always, you get priority on mailbag Monday. So we'll get all those Discord questions knocked out first. Then we'll move on to the Twitter questions. We also have an email if you want to do that, blackhawks@allchgo.com. So, yeah, we'll send a tweet out a little bit after the show ends here and start populating the Discord and the Twitter with your questions for Mailbag Monday. So we'll talk to you tomorrow at 2:30. Thanks to Steven for running the show. We're all good on Super Chats, right? We got everybody?
Yeah, so I was just checking. We got
awesome. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. We have a ton of people watching, a ton of likes. Before we go, please hit that like button on your way out and tell a friend. We would really, really appreciate that.
Yes.
We'll talk to you tomorrow at 2:30 on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.